The weather pattern is undergoing an interesting transformation, and a lot of it is based on this very wet weather pattern that has been centered in the northern plains. What had been a dry March has turned into an excessively wet, in fact, flooding April month in the northern plains in North Dakota, northwest Minnesota in particular. That has brought down a lot of cool weather, but that may be trying to change. In fact, this is really the focal point of what the next 2 months will be all about. The large-scale features around Earth are suggesting we are likely in for another, not necessarily drought summer, but warmer than and drier than average summer. But right now, most of this area is not like that at all. It's been cool. Another wet system this weekend into the northern plains. The cool temperatures will gradually retreat, and this is an interesting phenomenon. Happens every year, usually about this time in April or May. You start getting some really warm temperatures up in Alberta when you get the favorable jet stream, because once the snow has gone up there, it's very dry, and just east of the Rockies, you can get some pretty fantastic cooling. It's not unusual this time of year to get temperatures into the 80s and 90s, as far north even some years as the Northwest Territories. So that's the first little manifestation of that particular pattern. Elsewhere around the nation, the really hot weather, the significant 80s and maybe up around 90, that's really limited to the Gulf Coast area. And of course, the desert southwest coast of Mexico. But right here in the middle of the country, what we're going to see is a lot of relatively mild weather this week, not as consistently cold as it has been during the month of April. The second week of May, I think, will continue to be sort of closer to average in the middle part of the country. Some parts will be a little bit cooler. There will probably be a little bit of a warm-up at some point, even into western parts of North Dakota and eastern Montana, but generally a milder pattern setting up. Precipitation-wise, there will be rain in the northern plains this week. I'm thinking the focus of it will be a little bit further south. Pacific Northwest looks wet, Southwest looks dry. The second week looks fairly dry. That doesn't mean no precipitation, but it looks fairly dry in the middle, with the rain showers dropping to the south. We would need some of this dry in order to make this happen, which is the continued Climate Prediction Center's long-range forecast for June, July, August, which continues to call for a drier than average summer, northwest, north central, and central United States, with the wettest areas in the east. And it's also calling for a warmer than average pattern across the country, but most likely warmer in particular right there in the northern plains. So what that means is, will our really wet spring and the lingering coolness from that give way to a hot summer? Well, there are signs that it will happen, but it'll be interesting to watch the patterns. Sometimes when you have wet soil, it's really hard for it to stop raining.